카메라 렌즈 하나만 들고 지구 반대편에서 날아온 한 남자가 있습니다. 헝가리 출신의 테크 유튜버, 구독자 80만 명이 넘는 채널을 운영하며 그동안 세계 최첨단 기술 관련 영상을 제작해 왔는데요. 평소 냉철하고 분석적인 리뷰로 유명한 그가 국내 대기업 S사의 초청으로 한국을 방문했습니다. 서울에 도착하자마자 여긴 세계에서 가장 하이테크한 도시 중 하나예요. 라며 뷰티부터 AI, 로봇, 교통까지 한국의 일상 기술을 전부 직접 체험해보겠다고 선언하는데요. 그런데 이 유튜버가 정작 놀란 것은 AI나 로봇이 아니었습니다. 과연 무엇을 보고 그렇게 놀란 것일까요?
Hey, I'm in Seoul, one of the most high-tech cities in the world, to check out what technology is like in everyday life here.
I think buses are not like the most exciting technology in the world to most people, and I certainly didn't expect these to be the first things that really stood out to me in the city, but they absolutely were.
이 유튜버가 기대한 것은 AI와 로봇, 반도체와 같은 화려한 기술이었습니다. 그런데 서울에서 가장 먼저 그의 시선을 붙잡은 것은 전혀 예상하지 못했던 것이었죠. 더 놀라운 것은 그 다음이었습니다. 서울에서 출발해 1시간이 넘도록 이동했지만 그는 단 한 번도 지하철 시스템 밖으로 나갈 필요가 없었습니다.
And while we traveled over an hour to get there, we never actually had to leave the metro system. Having cities connected by metro, where the train comes every 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, is in my opinion legitimately a mind-altering experience. I somehow didn't even consider that this was an option.
평범한 대중교통이 왜 기술 전문가의 생각까지 바꿔놓았을까요? 그가 한국에서 무엇을 보았는지 지금부터 함께 살펴보겠습니다.
I don't think my audience typically thinks of the beauty industry when it comes to tech, but South Korea is probably the country with the most high-tech beauty industry in the world. We'll start our exploration with some really high-tech beauty procedures.
유튜버의 시청자들은 보통 뷰티 산업을 테크로 생각하지 않지만 그가 가장 먼저 향한 곳은 의외로 반도체 공장도 로봇 연구소도 아니었습니다. 바로 피부관리 클리닉이었죠.
I went to a clinic to get my skin analyzed in depth. This used light with various wavelengths as well as a special camera booth plus some software to give me an automatic analysis in an embarrassing amount of detail. Because the machine was calibrated for Korean women, it said that my skin was equivalent to that of a 37-year-old Korean woman's, which honestly, as a 34-year-old Hungarian man, I'll actually take as a compliment.
결과가 얼마나 정확한가와 별개로 한국의 뷰티 산업은 이미 화장품을 진열해 판매하는 단계를 넘어섰습니다. 소비자의 피부를 촬영하고 데이터를 분석한 뒤 그 사람에게 맞는 제품과 서비스를 추천하는 산업으로 넓어지고 있었죠.
And now we'll try something called a PDRN. It's the hottest new thing in Korea and I think also everywhere around the world right now. It is something that is derived from salmon DNA, aka salmon sperm, actually. It says infused with 58% caviar water and PDRN to support skin vitality, boosting hydration and glow. So that's gonna be me. Gonna be boosted hydration and glow, man.
Feels very natural. This is the future, definitely.
Of course, but my face does feel significantly more moisturized and I guess healthier than usual, so something is definitely working.
뷰티테크의 실용성이 가장 분명하게 드러난 것은 맞춤형 파운데이션이었습니다. 동행한 마야는 오랫동안 자신의 피부색과 정확히 맞는 제품을 찾지 못했다고 합니다. 그런데 어떤 결과가 발생했을까요?
Okay, now we're gonna go to Olive Young, the biggest beauty chain in Korea, to do a hair follicle analysis so we can see whether my scalp is doing alright or not.
We were in one of their flagship stores where they essentially pointed a camera with a macro lens at my hair. Then a couple of photos were taken and the machine automatically assessed things like my hair loss, hair density, hair thickness, the condition of my skin, etc. A very friendly employee walked me through the result by talking Korean to an iPad, which also translated everything to my iPad in English, and she then gave me the most polite roast of my scalp ever. She told me all the things that were wrong with my hair. Last on our high-tech beauty list was actually Maya, so we got her a face color analysis. Anyway, we got moved into this pretty fancy exclusive floor where we have dancing robots and a wall full of foundation bottles. Yet again, an extremely friendly employee sat Maya down in front of what this time around was a Samsung tablet, and she held up a color wheel in front of her face. The color temperature of the room and the lights in it were controlled so the tablet could take a photo and then use the color wheels as a reference to assess her exact skin tone. There were 185 tones in this shop if my count is correct, and Maya says that her pick was bang on exactly right. She's been trying and failing to manually find the exact shade for years, but this worked in just a few minutes automatically, so she was very happy.
마야는 분석 결과가 정확히 맞았다고 했어요. 수년 동안 직접 맞는 색을 찾으려 했지만 실패했는데 이 시스템은 몇 분 만에 자동으로 찾아냈습니다. 첨단 기술이 오랫동안 해결되지 않았던 소비자의 구체적인 불편을 몇 분 만에 해결한 셈이죠. 유튜버의 첨단 뷰티 산업이라는 사전 인식이 구체적 체험으로 확인된 것입니다.
Now, talking about more things that I feel somewhat torn on, let's move on from beauty and let's talk about robots, AI, and automated experiences next. Seoul has a pretty high degree of automation in everyday life in general, and both Korean companies and the government are extremely on board with both AI and robots. As soon as we landed on the airport, for example, we were greeted with one of these robots roaming around, including by one that was just casually saying that it was going to work. Alright, good luck with that. Meanwhile, this one we could actually interact with, and while I guess it was mostly designed to show you flight details or whatever, you could actually use it to take a photo as well. Not only that, you could then use AI to turn you into an airport character, such as an air traffic controller. And for me, that looked like this.
That does not look like me at all. I mean, okay, like a little bit, but I have like Korean hair.
Similarly, in the city, we also found this. This was called an AI tourism hardware platform, and then at some point, the girl pointed to the camera and told us to take a photo. So it's an AI photo booth from the city government, and I originally thought it would turn me into a dragon boy or something, but the results were even better than I could have imagined. Yes, this is definitely what the future feels like.
공항 안내 로봇, AI 캐릭터 사진, 서울시 관광 플랫폼을 체험하며 비록 결과물이 자신과 닮지 않아 웃음을 만들면서도 한국의 미래적 이미지를 체험합니다. 서울 도심에서 그가 발견한 것은 24시간 운영되는 로봇 카페였습니다. 태블릿으로 주문하면 로봇이 음료를 만들고 완성된 커피를 손님이 직접 찾아가는 방식이었죠.
Anyway, robot cafes are pretty common in Seoul as well, especially in the busy downtown districts, and these are often marketed as being 24/7. You come in and you order from a tablet, the whole store is of course full of CCTV cameras, and the robot makes you your drink. The drink gets placed like this so you know which one is yours, and surprisingly, this coffee lounge actually had one of the best coffees that I had in Korea, which is not exactly what I expected.
사람 없이 로봇 혼자 음료를 만들고 완성된 음료는 정확히 주문자 앞자리에 놓이는 시스템. 24시간 운영되는 이 매장에서 그가 정말 놀란 부분은 따로 있었는데요. 로봇이 내린 커피 맛이 그동안 한국에서 마신 커피 중 손에 꼽을 정도로 훌륭했다는 사실입니다. 자동화가 서비스의 질을 떨어뜨릴 거라 예상했던 그의 편견이 완전히 깨져버린 순간이었죠. 체류하는 동안 그의 휴대전화에는 주변 지역의 실종자를 찾는 알림이 반복해서 도착했습니다.
We got multiple of these emergency notifications to our phones that reported on missing person cases in our area. Usually I only see stuff like earthquake warnings or missile warnings using this system, but here you get notified when somebody around you is being looked for. And once you click through, you can actually see a database of photos where CCTV cameras have most recently identified the people near you, as well as some success stories of people actually being found. The government proudly talks about a massive AI CCTV face search network, and that is not something that I've seen anywhere else before.
지진이나 재난을 알리던 통신망을 실종자 수색에도 활용한다는 점이 그에게는 매우 독특하게 보였던 건데요. 바로 한국의 실종 대응이 휴대전화 알림과 경찰의 실종자 정보 시스템을 통해 시민에게도 정보를 전달하는 구조를 갖추고 있다는 점 때문입니다. 피부를 읽는 카메라와 로봇이 만드는 커피 실종자 정보를 전달하는 휴대전화까지. 그가 한국에서 가장 인상적으로 본 기술도 AI나 자동화였을 것 같습니다. 하지만 서울로 들어오는 고속도로에서 그의 시선을 붙잡은 것은 뜻밖에도 버스였습니다.
We actually took a taxi from the middle of the country from our previous SK Hynix shoot over to Seoul, which meant that surprisingly, we arrived to Seoul via highway. Right away, we were stuck in traffic most of the way, but an express bus lane ran all the way next to us that really caught my eye, as this saw a ton of buses zipping by next to the traffic jam. Once arriving to the city, I also saw a huge bus rapid transit network with express center lanes in just about every major road. These were in addition to the non-express lanes on the side, and just the sheer number of buses everywhere kept blowing my mind. I think buses are not like the most exciting technology in the world to most people, and I certainly didn't expect these to be the first things that really stood out to me in the city, but they absolutely were. Overall, I think Seoul and the highways that are feeding into it had the most comprehensive bus network that I've ever seen in a city, and it even made some of the Chinese networks that I've seen pale in comparison. Unsurprisingly, buses seem very popular as a result.
2025년 기준 서울의 중앙버스 전용 차로는 13개 축 총 128.9km까지 구축돼 있습니다. 과거 서울시 분석에서는 중앙차로 도입 후 대상 구간의 버스 통행 속도가 평균 약 30% 개선되고 운행 시간의 편차도 줄어든 것으로 나타났습니다. 한정된 도로에서 승용차 한 대보다 훨씬 많은 사람을 태운 버스를 먼저 보내는 것은 도시가 무엇을 우선하는지를 보여주는 선택입니다. 이 유튜버에게는 기술의 의미가 첨단 제품에서 중앙버스 전용차로 수도권 광역버스, 대중교통 수송 분담, 포괄적 버스망의 도시 운영 시스템으로 확장되었던 거죠. 버스의 놀란 그는 이번에는 지하철로 내려갔습니다. 깨끗한 열차와 정시 운행, 냉방과 스크린 도어는 이미 동아시아의 우수한 지하철에서 기대했던 부분이었습니다. 그런데 그가 더 흥미롭게 바라본 것은 훨씬 작은 기능들이었습니다.
Seoul is pretty well known for its incredible metro and train network, and seeing this in person, I have to say, was even more impressive than I imagined. First, let's start with some of the fun, small stuff. In some stations, when you enter, you have floors with these metallic balls. Can you guess what they're for? Well, they're for vacuuming your shoes. The balls kind of squeeze out the dirt that is collected in your shoes, and then they recess into the metal plate under which is actually a vacuum that sucks up the dirt off to the side. Pretty fun. Next, I love that many fare gates are actually open by default and only close when there's a problem. That's great. Also fun is how there's always a little jingle that tells you which direction the train is going into. It's a brilliantly easy but useful thing. And another thing that I found extremely practical is that everything, and I mean everything, is clearly and visibly numbered. Every train, every door, and every exit, so it becomes super easy to actually meet someone, or a mapping app can also tell you which door you actually have to get onto for the easiest transfer. And talking of maps, last on my kind of small fun list is that the Korean one will also have little animated trains that move in real time. This is just really cute. So that's a lot of small quality of life stuff.
먼지를 제거하는 장치, 통과 흐름을 막지 않는 개찰구, 방향별 안내음, 승강장 번호 체계, 그리고 지도 속 실시간 열차 표시. 이 각각은 대단한 첨단 기술처럼 보이지 않습니다. 하지만 매일 수많은 사람이 반복해서 이용하는 공간에서는 이런 세세한 디테일이 도시의 품질을 결정합니다. 그러나 작은 편의 기능보다 그를 더 크게 놀라게 한 것은 노선도 자체였습니다. 서울 지하철 노선이 서울에서 끝나지 않고 다른 도시까지 연결된다는 사실에 가장 강하게 반응을 보이는데요. 서울 지하철이라고 부르지만 노선은 서울의 경계에서 끝나지 않고 인천과 경기도의 여러 도시로 그대로 이어지고 있었죠.
But the real big deal here is, of course, how incredibly impressive the network itself is.
So here you can see the scale of the metro map, and actually this is still trimmed, but this is basically Seoul, and it goes all the way out. You can see how many trains and how many lines there are all the way out. And if you go here, you can actually see that the line continues, it's just not on a map. It's crazy how big all of this is.
It's hard to say how many stations the network even has because the lines don't actually end in the city of Seoul at all. Some of these lines, like actual metro lines, don't just cross the city, they also go all the way to neighboring cities, like actual separate cities connected by metro. Take the insane Line 1, for example. This has over 100 stations, and by my estimate, it should be something like 150 kilometers long. If you look at a map, you can see that it connects 3 different cities through Seoul. Inside Seoul, all of this just feels like a regular metro, but then it also works as a decently fast train between cities once you go further. We actually decided to check out Incheon, another city to the west of Seoul, and while we traveled over an hour to get there, we never actually had to leave the metro system. Having cities connected by metro, where the train comes every 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, is, in my opinion, legitimately a mind-altering experience. I somehow didn't even consider that this was an option.
그에게 지하철은 기본적으로 한 도시 안을 이동하는 교통수단이었습니다. 다른 도시로 가려면 별도의 장거리 열차나 다른 교통수단으로 갈아타는 것이 자연스러웠죠. 하지만 수도권 전철은 서울의 도시철도와 국가철도 노선이 하나의 요금운행 체계 안에서 이어지며 서울과 인천, 경기도의 여러 도시를 하나의 생활권처럼 빈번한 도시철도 운행으로 연결한다는 사실에 이 유튜버는 크게 놀랐던 거죠. 그래서 서울 시내에서는 평범한 지하철처럼 느껴지던 열차가 도시 경계를 넘으면 광역 이동수단이 됩니다. 너무도 당연하게 생각했던 전철 시스템이 외국인이 이렇게 크게 놀라는 대상이라는 사실이 더욱 놀랍습니다. 버스와 지하철에서 발견한 작은 설계는 거리 위에서도 계속됐습니다.
I have a few more street-level things to talk about. First, biking in Seoul seems to be on the rise with some pretty cool new lanes being built now. That said, this is clearly coming from a very small base. The networks isn't particularly consistent, the lanes often end up nowhere, and especially on big roads, I would not feel too comfortable riding in them. It's not unusual to see people and even the police parking in them, and while the number of riders is growing, it's still pretty low. When we went to Incheon, another city to the west of Seoul that was built more recently, we saw a lot more bike lanes and a lot more bikers, presumably because this city had biking networks built from the start rather than as something that was bolted on haphazardly later on. So maybe we'll see more of this in the capital in the future as well. Next, in a few places, Seoul had these little air-conditioned shelters that almost look like a bus station, except you can just hang out in them for free. It's a pretty good way to escape the heat or the rain, I guess. If you ever want to cross a street in Seoul, you might occasionally find one of these traffic lights that are integrated into the sidewalk, and these allow people to keep looking at their phones while they're waiting. Nice. And another awesome design while crossing a street is that you might find yourself under one of these many parasols that are placed so you can wait in the shade. That's a pretty good idea.
그가 거리에서 발견한 바닥 신호등과 횡단보도 그늘 막은 거대한 발명은 아닙니다. 하지만 누군가가 겪는 작고 반복적인 불편을 발견하고 그것을 도시의 시설로 바꿨다는 점에서 의미가 있습니다. 이 유튜버는 한국의 미래를 보기 위해 로봇과 AI, 첨단 뷰티 기술을 찾아다녔습니다. 하지만 서울에서 그의 생각을 바꾼 것은 훨씬 평범한 것이었습니다. 정체된 도로 옆을 달리는 버스, 다른 도시까지 이어지는 지하철, 어느 문에 타야 할지 알려주는 작은 번호들. 기술을 오래 관찰해온 외국인의 눈에는 오히려 그 평범함이 가장 미래적으로 보였습니다. 미래도시는 특별한 기계를 전시하는 곳이 아니라 평범한 하루가 조금 덜 불편하도록 계속 고쳐지는 도시인지도 모릅니다. 여러분이 매일 당연하게 이용하지만 외국인에게는 특별할 수 있다고 생각하는 한국의 생활 시스템은 무엇인가요? 오늘 준비한 영상은 여기까지입니다. 끝까지 시청해주셔서 진심으로 감사드립니다. 지금까지 코리아 감탄로그였습니다. 언제나 행복하세요.